An incredible game from CFO. But as we've seen across this entire stage thus far, the expected favorites might drop a game, but no one has been able to transition it to that second win yet. Will CFO be the first to do it?
A fan-signed classic there, adjusting expectations. That said, not just in this tournament, right, have we, I think, seen a game that one-sided, but more importantly, even in all the free ones we've had in the main stage thus far, I do feel like the one game was a lot harder fought. There was a lot more back and forth. There was a lot more battling. This was just a complete and utter stomp. Felt like outside of top in every single lane, leads were found very early, and they were compounded upon to the point where CFO just really rolled over T1, and we'll see if they're able to repeat it. This is always, as we I think often talk about, in situations like this is really where you get to see it. How can they take that momentum in this series and keep it going?
It's a very good question. Right, we heard from, I think, Ramon for the first G2 win. Hey, we're just taking it easy, it's casual. It didn't look casual after that first game, and I imagine it's the same for CFO. How do you stay a little bit lighthearted? How do you keep that pressure off you as you get closer to contesting T1, as you are on the cusp of match point? But T1, of course, just as close. It's just the best of three now that stands in front of us. And this team, they're a scary team to make angry. A scary team when if they immediately lock in after. This is a team with a lethal early game if they have the right tools.
It's important to note that even domestically, T1 dropped a bunch of best of threes to teams that they were heavily favored against. But this is a best of five. This is MSI, and even though MSI hasn't been T1's tournament for a very long time, they still were generally able to get very high finishes. Not quite going the full distance, but yeah. As we get into this draw for game number 3, can't wait to see what CFO will bring after that dynamite in game number 2.
Now on the red side for the first time this series, T1, of course, as the losers get side selection. First time on blue. See how this changes their approach, as a lot of the utility mid laners still removed from the pool. So 6 effective mid lane bans as we are in Fearless. Of course, Driver here back in as well, so potentially a shift to a tankier top side, and I'm expecting not the use of a counter pick for top lane.
Could see a Gragas face-off here, both Doran and Driver. Don't like that champion quite a lot, though we did see the Jax taking out one of the most popular counter picks. As T1, I think, are fishing for a B1 Azir. Nothing interesting, nothing out of the ordinary, and if CFO don't ban that away, it does seem like it should be a no-brainer. Probably followed up by the Ahri, which has been the most popular counter pick we've seen afterwards, as fans going crazy. Dracos, understandably, team needs to support after a rough game like that.
Definitely do. See if it is the Azir, as you predicted, to come through here. I think big for the side of CFO and their hopes of going further in this series is that really only the Leona and the Renata of the effective Kai Wing champion pool have taken off the board. The surprise win with that Nami.
Yeah.
Giving them a few more options as we go deeper into Fearless.
Alistair still available. Nautilus still available.
The Doran faces are cursed, but the Kruglord sign is absolutely fantastic.
They're so good. And it was a big talking point come into today, but game number 1 he was great. Obviously had a couple of moments, but at large, solid. In game number 1 he was, or game number 2 rather, he's the only one of T1 that we couldn't really criticize. As CFO, no shocker, make the same read, and I think targeting Faker in the draft, given how game number 2 played out and the colossal amount of gold that CFO was able to generate by just taking down over and over again, does make sense to me. T1 really like to give him an early prior pick. Instead, it's going to be the Gwen here for Doran.
Once again, a chance for Doran to shine. That was the champion he died to Krugs on. And again, immediately after he died, he did come in and 1v1 an enemy AD carry, Wampa Stomp a fight, and storm off into the night. His Driver now debating Gragas, a huge comfort pick for him.
Mentioned it already. See the smile.
And it feels like there's more tension in this Game 3 draft. Remember, the previous matchup was an instant slam from T1. Kalista, Renata, full confidence. This time, you see CFO taking their time with responses on red side. when a high-stakes champion, if you fumble, if you make a mistake, she can absolutely take over. As it's
I don't know about that.
Blind Trundle.
You have been.
He's earned it.
You've been. Well, no one. If Canyon doesn't earn Blind Trundle, no one earns Blind Trundle.
No one earns Blind Trundle.
Because I think that Junja, thus far for me, has been the
100%
absolute
the best
standout
performing player in this series thus far.
If that was an Ornn on the enemy team, I think it makes sense.
Sure.
But blinding a Trundle like that, I don't think you can get away with that as owner.
This might not be as special for you. You get to cast this champion sometimes. Woo! But this for me, ooh, the Zed.
We are obviously going to assume, despite the historical significance of the
Zed
T1 and Zed and Faker and Zed, that this is going to go towards owner.
If it is mid, will we do the thing in the game?
Oh, we will. We won't, because we get blind Galio, and the blind Trundle kind of made me question. The blind Galio feels like, to me, another admission from T1. They just want to ensure that they get Faker on something that he is comfortable with. But they really need an engaged support to go with this, right? They need someone that sets up. They need someone that can go in. Nautilus, for me, would be the prime one. Oh, come on, dude.
Okay! Okay! We're cooking with gasoline, baby. There are exciting picks all around.
Oh my god.
So we have the Zed Gwen topside. Absolutely no CC, but immense dive potential. But there's not really a great dive target. And Drain Tanks seems to be the name of the game on the side of CFO. Swain, the Gragas, the Trundle. There's a lot of sustain in this game.
That's a bunch of beefcakes for CFO towards the top side of the map. That said, eventually Doran, as Gwen, is going to have a decent time cutting through them, but that is really going to take a long time. T1 was not able to find it, but for me, the most important is that it's owner on a carry. And though owner has been the carry on T1 for the large part of the summer split, it was mostly him in more facilitative plays, setting up for the rest of his team, finding on things like Zinzao so much control in the fights. This is just a straight up carry. He needs to be the one that goes in, finds the backline, and kills the high value targets. And thus far, as highlighted, he doesn't really have a target yet. Really, the best one is probably Trundle. I do have to say, though, with Swain, it is a champion where if you start falling behind, it will feel very reminiscent of what happened in T1 in game number 1. We've seen this pick pulled out, I think, a decent amount, as not just in the Galio, but into the Ahri as well for a little amount of time. But you do need to be able to actually drain tank for it to have consistent value.
Yeah, a champion that can look incredible in the right circumstances, but you're right, if it falls behind, the Gwen and the Zed can make quick work of the pick. Interestingly, the Jhin, the MF both banned away. Varus has already been hit. So the options for Guma to sit safely in the backline while the rest of his team dives forward are getting more and more limited. Now, Kai'Sa is still available, a champion who isn't the best laner, but can follow up on the Galio, can follow up on the Gwen chasing in. Although, again, they don't have CC to set up the Plasma.
Kai'Sa's a big risk if you do take that, because there is a lot of lane bullies still available. That's one of the ones that I was going to go for. I like this a lot more. Doggo picking up the Caitlyn.
Senna.
Ooh, what is it going to be for Guma here?
Okay. Okay. Thinking about it. I agree, audience. We know what we want, Guma. Do it. Come on.
Oh, come on.
Come on. Not that. Nope, not that. Yeah.
We're already off the wall. Might as well commit.
Come on, come on, come on.
This, though, it's a known quantity.
Okay, it's fine. It's safe. It's stable. We all wanted the Aphelios. Give us the 200 years, but we'll take the 200 stacks instead if he can last that long. And potentially controversial duo from a lore standpoint, but might work.
Carry out.
Okay. Oh, God. Chronicler, we're gonna have to bring it up at some point, but you know how I feel about this pick.
I know you don't like it.
It is Carrier, though.
Is it? So there's a couple options, right? We can go towards Lux, we can go towards Morgana, we can go towards Karma. Karma, to me, the most versatile. Oh,
okay.
We counter hooks with hooks. Is it the crank for Kaiwing?
The crank.
The crank, Dracos.
We're gonna have a conversation about American slang after this.
Oh, it's Brom.
That's Brom. Okay,
okay. Brom's good. Brom's good.
You gotta cool the draft off a little bit. Brom locked in. Certainly good with the amount of melee champions. Certainly good to stop the dive, right? An excellent counter dive option, but Engage now going to be a bit more reliant on Driver on this Gragas. This is by far the spiciest draft we have seen all of MSI 2025 so far. And you had the sign and they didn't do it, so I'm sorry. You made a good sign, it's just wasn't enough. In this game, look, I know there's stakes, but it's upper bracket. This is just gonna be awesome.
I can't wait to see how these two comps are going to play out as well. So, strengths for T1. Obviously, the pick potential with the Fresh, always going to be a big talking point. Still have the side lane impact. And we have Doran on one of his most consistent picks. And one of the few picks that can actually chew through the members on CFO. Obviously, in a theoretical world, eventually Senna does, but it takes so long. And on the flip side, for CFO, it's mid-game, mid-game, mid-game. Turn that early bot lane oppressive matchup with the Caitlyn into some skirmishing with particularly that Swain to try and not give T1 an opportunity to play the game.
Chronicler, we're getting ready for game. T1 fans ready, they're excited. But of course, this is gonna be thrilling. The thing is, I'm a Thresh hater. I have been for many years, but if anyone on the face of this planet can change my mind, it is that man on your screen now with the Modeskin as well.
Spell book for both supports here. No big surprises otherwise to see Junja going for PTA, which he's, as we can see there, obviously going to be great in the short trades.
And this is why junglers like blind trundle, is there's a lot of dopamine. It can be difficult without a tank on the enemy team, but
auto-chomp auto.
Auto-chomp
auto. It feels great. He's playing into an 80 matchup as well. The big thing is obviously, though, that the ability to actually lock down the Zed is minimal. And there really isn't that many ways to deny owner backline access once we get deeper into the game, right? There isn't, outside of driver, really a lot of immediate CC. And in his case, I think he would also still often have to rely on the flash to really catch the Zed off guard. But what a draft setup here, as Junja has been so consistent. Are they going to target Faker again? The invade will definitely come through. This is a Braum. The level 1 is always going to be a menace as owner, this time on the receiving end of one.
Creative level 1. Junja obviously really fast, single camp clear on this Trundle. Maybe just wants to try to outpace owner. Zed, of course, in isolation though. Very easy for him to clear as we get the picture in picture.
Well, yeah. On the map, they are aware that owner is there. Not only that, they have also warded his own camp. So they will have a perfect timer of where the Zed is going to be at any point. And the cool thing is, even if you don't counter, what is going to happen is these two dudes are going to get as many pot shots on Carrier and on Guma. They're going to try and set up for a dive because the map is split vertically towards the top side for T1, bot side for CFO. And mid lane is not looking any better, Dracos.
No, it is not looking hot at all. Maybe once the phase rush is there, it gets a bit easier, and obviously support for ganks. Good CC in that lane.
They need to hit 2
for owner, but Junja on the way. Close, you can see bottom of your screen. Actually, they're pretty far away.
Ooh, sums are available, but heal was already used by Carrier.
Experience.
And yeah, if they were lower, maybe, but I think the dive would be a gamble. You do really need to stack up the Braum passive. Can do quickly with the auto resets on the Trundle. Junja. Still level 1.
No one here to cover. Carrier and Guma have to survive this. This would be disastrous. Junja starting to walk forward, lays down a little bit of damage initially. Nice flash backwards as Guma's been taken out the dive. Flawless thus far. Kaiwing about to fall. Carrier tries to trade back. It will be a 2-for-1 in the favor of CFO. But no one's here to grab this CS. It's an absolute disaster for T1.
And this was face up. They saw the Caitlyn. We're like, we can get away with the Senna. And as it turns out, very much not the case. As the double comes through for Doggo, and we saw how he played with a lead in game number 1. And to add insult to injury, Doran is just trying his best. The bot lane is rotating up. They might look for a counter dive, but reinforcements are on the way for Driver.
A little bit lower. Already burned his W. Should be a quick fall. Level up there. Owner, the Living Shadow, comes out, but he's not able to get the auto attack. Not able to get the contempt for the weak, and there's a Braum here just waiting for him. 1 stack.
Slows him down.
Got the Kebab ready to go there as Doran starts to run. Forces the flash as well.
Big deal. Gets the flash, but I think T1 should just be happy that they didn't give over another kill to this Caitlyn. Maybe looking for a cancel here.
How much are they willing to take? Built over Peacemaker, forcing him back. Nice advantage for tempo as Driver's already reset TP bot lane.
It's a disaster here in the early game for T1. CFO are just reading them like a book, running around the map. Junja again, 2 assists before the first full clear is done.
And also the fact that in that previous tower dive, both kills go to Doggo, it's so crucial because look at that serrated Dirk in inventory. So much damage in the short trades. Guma's not going to be in a comfortable position to stack at all in this lane.
I don't think he's going to be in a comfortable position to live in this lane. I think stacks are it's like 5 steps down the line.
A terrifying prospect.
There is a good amount of vision here. They see Junja
on the way.
Guma doesn't.
Good lantern.
Ooh, okay, there's other clan still, so it would have been fine even if the passive does get procced.
Faker wandering down to place a little bit of vision. Owner is here on the bottom side, but Driver, again, there's no CC for Doran. So as long as Driver doesn't step too far forward here, he's in a decent spot. The cannon wave taking up a bit, but it's not quite a full freeze. Doggo does get rooted, and Owner just continues to wait in the darkness.
No flash.
Driver stepping up.
Doran doesn't hit the damage.
Caskor just hit level 6 though, and they just have to back off.
Now the opportunity cost is low for Owner.
Heal forward, they know that Owner's not here, so CFO want to get aggressive, but a good flay from Keria denies the play.
Doesn't spend too much time there. I think wisely backs off, will be able to get towards the top side of the map. Clear his cams, but when the Z is in the head, when it comes to either gold or CS, to the Trundle, you know the early game not been going the way that you've been looking for. We do see T1 trying to at least fight back a little bit here towards the top side of the map, but this wave state remains rough, and it means that Doggo can take so many pot shots, and again, it's a serrated Dirk, as you highlighted. And Driver, he's chilling. He's Gragas on weak side. He doesn't need to care.
And while Doggo's still wildly far ahead in terms of CS, range advantage for Keria at least means they're able to walk up a bit in this lane. But it will just be Junja starting the objective, spotted on vision though, importantly. So T1 know they have a window of opportunity if they want to get anything done. Faker already has pressure in mid lane, but really just needs to back at this point as Doran and Driver trading blows. Cask burned there. Doran, just a quick response, so not a lot can happen.
Owner close to 6, but not there yet. With 6, could maybe be an angle. That trade's actually not going too poorly here.
Doggo with 2 kills. Worth a bit of money if they can find it.
Honky already sitting on a Giant's belt. And Owner, he's like, oh, is there a Raptor camp for me, please? Not yet. Spawning soon, though, so we'll be able to pick that one up. Should be able to get him at least close to level 6. Honky gonna take a look here. I don't think, even if Owner hits 6, I don't think he is threatening. Nope, XP not gonna be enough. Looking like the red buff is next on the menu. Should be able to steal this away.
Should be able to do so in time, but doesn't have smite. Neither does Junja, as he's going to start to path up. Good vision placed previously by Owner means he'll know that it's coming.
The pace of the game not nearly as crazy as previously. We'll see if Fake wants to look for a no play.
Ping's coming down. Faker ready with ultimate. Guma and Keria stepping forward. In that brief period of time before the waves crash in mid lane, they know, hey, maybe there's an angle with this Galio to get something done. Junja
just want to try and get the crash in, right? Guma desperately needs the back, but with Junja showing, I don't know how much they can really do. And Kaiwing just making sure that this wave state remains awkward.
Doran going all in, knows he has the ult advantage. Bit of damage mitigated by the Gragas W, but a quick dash back. Doran just trying to take control of that lane. Kaiwing making sure the backs don't come easy, willing to give up a bit of life just to stop these recalls. And Swain
cancels
from a different lane from a mile away. Just making tempo so hard for T1.
Swain from the lane, canceling the back there, keeping T1 behind on tempo. As Junja starting the objective here, I don't think there's anything that T1 can do. Their lanes are pushed in. Owner is just trying to farm up a storm. But as far as T1 blueprints go, it doesn't often look like this. Owner on a carry, not really from a individual player perspective, but just with T1, again, the fact that this core man unit of Owner, Faker, Guma, Keria playing together effectively since 2021. Like then we have a different top laner, obviously. Say is coming in through Doran now as a Driver.
Yeah, the casks. The rest of the Gragas has been good. The casks.
CSing, no notes.
Yep. Which is what matters.
Surviving the ganks, great. As long as there's no fight, obviously the cask cooldown isn't really going to matter. And with Catalyst, Driver is also not friend whatsoever. But this core, it also means that these players obviously very fine-tuned to one another, and hasn't been often that they've been able to play a style like this. We'll see, because they have to, because I think CFO thus far, they're obviously feeling great. Doggo very far ahead. Now, I have been burned by Doggo a little bit in some of the games that we saw.
Yes.
And in the previous game, always dashes in were obviously very, very good. Oh, the cancel.
Decent damage onto Guma. Lantern about to expire. Control ward laid down. Flash out from Guma. Nice bit of tech there, just putting that control ward down to make it impossible. You can zoom in, but it's still so hard to click.
Great. It's a really good play there from Doggo, and Kaiwing get both sums from Guma. Sitting on 17 souls, by the way. Not having a very fun time. Owner, the vision control is obviously there for CFO as Keria is just watching his turret get obliterated by this Caitlyn. There's not really anything he can do. Just has to sit there and eat it.
And I think the good news for T1 is normally when you play Thresh, you really need to snowball, but because the enemy team is all about kind of this death ball, the Lantern alone is a lot. It can do a lot of work in those exchanges. Honkyu, good trade with the Vision of Empire.
Results, TP. That's Kaiwing coming in on the Brom. It's a
creative use.
Owner and Kaiwing. Flexing Penguin versus Angry Bee.
True. I mean, Kaiwing does have the power of Kebab on his side.
That is my favorite Brom skin.
It's great. It's fantastic.
This does buy Guma a little bit of time.
Observers have a different opinion as we randomly pan down to Superfan Gragas.
It's good.
It's in the running. CFO skin game on point. It's Doggo and Kaiwing. Pretty comfortable to just sit here. Faker, of course, itemizing early MR means wave clear okay, but it's all base damages.
Slow misses.
Thorn ulting.
And Driver, he's living his best life. Sidestepping, not being threatened, and it's again, look at the vision that's there. Owner can look for these plays, but CFO is very keenly aware of where this player is at any given point in time. The TP, it's just Faker, and he can't really do too much to Honkyu in the 1v1. And CFO, it's not quite the explosiveness that we got in the previous game, and this gold lead on Doggo, good as it is gonna matter less as we get deeper into the game, because I do want to draw your attention to the Zed that is sitting on an item. And that is going to become an increasingly big problem unless we see both Kaiwing and Driver do their best bodyguard impression.
Junja contesting here a bit in mid lane. And I think it's important to remember that CFO have been, hold that thought as Driver. Taking some risk there, but we'll be able to walk away. Extra sustain from the Cattles, making it go, but Doran! Driver just barely fast enough on the flash out to survive.
Has an item. That's a kill. And T1 maybe want to turn this into more. Don't find, or doesn't find Red of the ult.
Relatively low. Getting lower and lower. Now going in onto Junja. The Zed going over the wall. Junja trying to heal up as much as he can. Death mark there. Galio on the way in, but Junja might just be in trouble. He's getting chased down now by two members in the meantime. Gumayushi has to hold on because Honkyu is in the midst of three, keeping the fight going, and it's Faker who's now in trouble trying to run away as the Galio. So far, the single kill. Keria taken down. Faker forced to flash out. Honkyu on the chase.
They're caught. Swain, ultimate time's out though. Health bars are low.
Honkyu's pretty damn powerful. Healthy as well. Nice sidestep from Doran on multiple abilities. Wants to turn things back with his ultimate. Owner going in. Content for the weak, doing some damage. Not actually able to get the passive off, and it's all Doran, really. And this isn't where I expect it to be in the game 3, but it really is just Doran again. Last game it was Jax. This time around it's the Gwen making the difference in that fight to keep things close. But still, CFO pulling ahead.
There's a top side for T1. That's trying to do the heavy lifting here as we take another look. Keria doesn't find the hook, but even if he finds Kaiwing, it's not going to mean too much. But Owner doesn't find the damage onto Junja. Obviously, there's so much healing, and then the flash over the wall. Doran doesn't have his dash, so he doesn't actually get to kill him. And then meanwhile, while that's happening, Honkyu obviously takes absolutely zero damage. Guma can't threaten him, 3 levels down. So Honkyu gets to live his best Swain life and just stand amongst multiple people, cycling cooldowns. And then this is, the fact that T1 was able to get anything out of that, I think, kind of insane. I was caught off guard, so was CFO, but the lead for them, still grown. 2 Drakes, 1.7k gold.
Doggo continuing to step up hard for Keria without any other slows to hit a piece of CC. And I think it's important to remember how domestically dominant CFO have been in 2025, and even the games they were able to find on the first stand stage. We didn't know how this would transition into MSI. We didn't know if this was just a blip on the radar, as so often when you look at PCS, when you look at the former LMS region, super top heavy. And while they did have some good games, it didn't always transition. But right now in this game 3, it's CFO in control after a win. T1 have tools, but their composition, it's hard to play. It's difficult to execute.
I do think the same can be said for CFO, though, because the laning phase, obviously, they played out extremely nicely, but some of the team fights can be looking rough. Right there, Doran was basically, I don't know, like 10, 15 AP away from first killing Driver, and then Owner was also quite close to taking down Junja. If that type of attention is paid towards Doggo, it's going to be how well can the rest of the team facilitate and disengage. As Owner does his W, so he's fine. But I want you to look at the itemization, right? Honky going for Rylai's first, obviously, to both endlessly maintain his ultimate, but also to just provide more value for the team, provide that CC. Driver obviously has incredible disengage. Gragas' entire kit can both set up or knock enemies away. And then Braum, kind of self-explanatory. It's the champion's whole identity. But there are going to be item breakpoints where I think CFO are really going to struggle. Champions like Swain also going to fall off in relative value once Owner, Doran, or Guma get to enough items or stacks respectively.
But currently CFO in full control of the objectives on the map. One more Drake will be sole point for them. And if they can hold on to this control before those power points come through for T1, it's Chemtech.
Gragas and Swain.
And Trundle. Yep.
Yep.
Again, not always the ideal role, but this is about the best composition you could hope for in a Chemtech Soul game.
Gonna be hard to take down, and we do see pace of the game a lot slower for CFO, understandable, because I think they're going to be having their eyes fully towards that dragon, and for T1, I just want to hold on, get Doran to a second item, maybe for Owner as well. Gumayushi obviously sitting at
29 stacks.
Not even 30 stacks right now. So it's going to take such a long time for him to really be relevant in this game. The gold lead has remained stable though, and that's something that I think T1 is going to hold on to. But for CFO, as long as you deny Owner access to the backline, that fight should look disgusting as Hongq, no mana.
But he's out of mana. Doran making the fast play, hiding in the brush, waiting to collapse. Hongq now in trouble with the extra healing coming through. Might buy him an extra second. Doran trying to get fancy, but he misses! Hongq! The laughter from the audience. Doran, a massive misstep.
And that too is Doran, as he goes in on the play, hits a few more snips.
Guma in trouble, but he will be able to walk away. The tower falling as well. And you're right, if you don't love Doran his worst, you shouldn't love him at his best either. But this is not the game where he can afford to make a fumble like that. He is the one strong point.
Cannot. So right here, really nice little sidestep there from Hongq. And then right here, the snip that is about to come through would have been enough to take him down.
And you're just losing to movement.
Yep.
He only casts one spell.
He didn't have mana. As we hear the crowd go crazy, understandably the gold lead now getting bigger. That is Doran. No flash, by the way, available for this upcoming fight. And unless they're able to like take out Doggo immediately or somehow find a way to do it.
He's going again.
Is this a replay?
Another ulti.
Round 2.
He managed to connect this time. Owner is here. Hongq doesn't have ulti.
Oh, he is dead.
The entire team collapsing. Hongq wants to try and clear the way, but Owner's on the way, and he should just fall here. Grassback is good. Senna ulti from across the map is a little bit of extra damage, but now it's the Herald being driven in bottom lane. They managed to find the kill. Hongq down, but Faker needs to back away. The counterpunch from CFO is good, but a nice pick for T1.
Well, yeah, they get the kill, but at what cost? You're losing soul point.
Faker
will be fine, but the bot lane turret most certainly won't be, as the outer has already fallen. Inner imminent here as well. 3 grubs for CFO as Doran.
Driver on the way up, knows that ulti isn't available, taking his sweet time. Body slams are hitting. Cooldown's going to be incredibly low. Doran dashes over the wall, the quick flash to follow. Body slam and the kill. That cask connecting.
The gold lead keeps getting bigger. The Chemtech soul point is available. Stacks nowhere to be found. And Driver on the Gragas is belly flopping his way to further reducing the only lead in terms of gold that T1 was still clinging on to, Dracos.
Gold lead continues to grow. Soul in 4 minutes on the cards. Otacon in 1. And we know, you talked about some of the weaknesses of the comp, but so many of them are mitigated if CFO have setup. And because they're getting prio on their side lanes, they will have setup. Those Caitlyn traps are going to be a nightmare. No one is tanky enough to eat that empowered headshot.
So we see the setup. Thus far, I don't expect CFO to really take any big risks, because, oh my, he doesn't even have a second item yet, by the way. That's going to be a lot worse when it does come through. There's Fresh. Great argumentation for Fresh haters, I gotta say. Thus far, not able to really make a big impact in this game.
And look, I'll give you the
caveats. I got one right
caveats.
besides me.
I am. But if you get a lead, this champion can be incredibly powerful. If you fall behind, you are on Lantern duty, which in some games can be enough. And again, similar to what CFO wants, set up first. If Thresh has set up first, it's easy to play these fights. You can deny the engage. The Flay can be such a powerful tool, especially against a champion like the Gragas, but it's just so hard.
And because of the laning leads, because of the leads for CFO, look at this. We keep going back to this, but the amount of vision that they have because of the prio means that T1 just doesn't get to create the volatility that we saw in that game number 1. As Lantern duty is doing that at least.
For Keria, the person making some of the massive plays that turned the game back in their favor, now stuck on Lantern duty, it does just make the game more difficult.
So T1 obviously not going to back down from a fight. It's,
okay. Ace in the hole, still a little bit away, and of course there's a cleanse and an ulti. Keria also with the heal.
He really wants stacks, Dracos. That's my read on that one.
I mean, he needs stacks.
Still only on 40.
Bit of range, bit of damage, but not too much yet.
So for CFO, the things to avoid are obviously over-investing in the Otacon. Can be a big turning point, no matter the game state.
Faker.
Keep your carry safe. Doggo must be protected at all costs. Although this early in the game, even the damage from Swain, still a really big deal, especially if he can finish Leandris before this dragon fight starts in 2 minutes. Same for Junja. As this Trundle gets later, obviously his damage is going to fall off, but level 12, sitting on the Triforce as well. They have to be respected.
Driver and Doran poking, prodding, fishing for an angle. Ulti's the big cooldowns we have to look out for. Flash up for Doran, crucially. Driver does not have his. Cleanse, heal on the side of Keria. Heal, exhaust for Kaiwing.
Towards a breaking point. Either T1 finally going to get
Doggo.
a teamfight wins. Doggo!
The hook lands! They bait the trap! It's well executed, but Doggo's still standing and he does so much work. Extra damage coming in. He now needs to retreat. He needs to get the hell out because it's double TPs. T1 smell blood in the water. T1 see an angle. They're desperate to take it. A solid retreat from the side of CFO. Doggo. Oh, overconfident, over-eager. Keria. Well played.
I think they're going to have to pull. They need to get something out of this, right? T1 are going to try and turn this into maybe an Otacon fake out. Looking for a turn is my guess. Faker has his ultimate available. CFO, they're ready.
Doggo's not here. He's most of the gold lead when he's not in the area. It's so damn close. Driver already caught by the hook. Box going down. Faker on the way, and they manage to catch the Gragas. Driver now set to fall, but Hongq still standing. A hook connecting on the Swain. They can't kill him. Keep going forward, but they can't finish the job. Hongq standing. He needs to retreat, but he needs to keep the ult going, so he's going to flash forward. Hongq full committing. He gives his life. Doggo is here, just in time. The final moments of Hongq's life given to get the AD carry into the fight, and now they have to be careful, Owner. You need to make this deal happen.
He has vision, he has vision!
Going over the wall. Just a bit of poke. Owner knows if he overcommits, he won't be able to steal the objective. 50-50, the coin flip, and CFO bet on themselves. Lantern laid down. Owner does not want to take the risk. It's Otacon to CFO.
Carry out. Takes the hit. Otacon goes to CFO. But the resets will come through for the Dragon. As we take a look, obviously this starts with the most fat member on CFO not being in the fight, but this early on, the base damages are still a big deal. And you can see T1 wanting to try and push as hard as they can. They don't have the damage to kill this Swain. Hongq realizes this, goes back in, and eventually they will take him down, but the cost is massive because Doggo arrives, quickly picks up 2 free kills. Another double kill for the man. And now T1, so much use there. And this fight, they can't afford to not take.
And credit to T1, they did manage to find a solid fight, but ultimately CFO were simply too far ahead and managed to buy just enough time for Doggo to get there. Now, have to walk into the brush here. You can see Faker taking big chunks of damage. Doggo ready to lay down just another trap. Keria was good with the hooks previously. In that chaotic melee, Thresh can do a lot of work, but this time CFO not looking to give them that edge. Gumayushi caught out, cleanse used, but as is Kaiwing's ultimate.
Not a bad trade for T1. If Guma can stay safe, does have his flash available, but T1 still no access on the river.
Celestial opposition popped, though, by a Vision of Empire from Honkyu. That's going to mean Carry is much squishier. Doran poking, prodding, looking over the wall. Soul on the line. For T1, it's just the first Drake, but for CFO, could be the backbreaker. Owner ready.
Doran's 2 levels down.
No flash for the Zed, though. Trap connects. Doggo can't quite get into range. Faker off to the side. Faker with the flank. Is it going enough? Ulti's now coming out instantly into the back line. Looking for a bit of follow-up. Owner still standing for repo, but he gets hit by the trap! And down he goes! The double kill! Domination! In game 3 from CFO! It's Doggo's time to shine! The Penta is there! Doggo! In the face of the reigning world champions! Stands tall!
It's CFO, look at that fight! And say, is that all you got? All they got is the Gragas. Nothing else. Soul to CFO. Penta to Doggo. And T1 on the verge of something that none of us were expecting coming into the day.
And in this priceless moment, you could see T1 fishing for the angle. But the trap, I think, unnoticed. Watch Owner goes in, locked up, steps onto the trap in a moment he thought he would succeed, exhausted as well, and there's nothing there for T1.
They just go 2-ham. Carrier goes in, but there's no follow-up. Doggo is so ready for this, even without the flash. It doesn't matter that his sums aren't available. Even the ultimate from Faker just gets cancelled leisurely by a pillar from Junja. I'm sorry about giving you a tough time on the blind Trundle.
He's got the blind Trundle card. Owner going to steal, at the very least, the blue buff. CFO, again, on track for a dominant win. Doggo, now fearless. Third ever pentakill, finds it against T1 on an international stage in an even series. Are you kidding me? How could he not be?
T1 is overgrouping, right? That's why Doran is still level 14. They need to respond. Might be goaded into another fight, but obviously CFO happy to take that.
T1, again, feel like they have to contest. 10K, they managed to find the hook. Carry a cutout before the fight even starts. Owner has to be the difference maker. They need a steal. Faker moving in, tauntable, but again, Doggo is untouched. The back line untouched, and the front line is too damn tanky. Another ulti.
They
Owner
can't cut
flashing.
for the beefcakes. There's too many.
And T1, they keep trying, they keep hoping that they can outplay, that they can out-execute, but CFO are ready every single time. Unfazed by the pace of game that T1 are looking to play. Happy now to take the Baron.
And it was the expectation that it was Kaiwing that was going to be struggling when it comes to the support champion pool. But instead, this fresh, dead in the water. First the Nami, now the Braum. Kaiwing standing guard, keeping his 10-0 and free 80 carry safe from everything that T1 is trying to throw at them.
In game 1 felt so much about what Junja could do in the early game, and again, he had a fantastic early game, but Doggo now in 2 consecutive games back-to-back with Kaiwing at his side has been that lethal threat. T1 looking out of sorts. Chance to rally in another game, perhaps one more fight to rally in this one. Serpent's Fang there to reduce some of the shielding, but no healing reduction on this team. Making it that much harder as Guma has to be careful about walking forward. Driver throws down the bomba, finds the connection to the wall, but not quite the right angle to knock him back as the siege begins. And this is exactly where you did not want to be as T1, facing down a Baron-empowered Caitlyn with this kind of front line. Owner praying for an angle into the back line. A single moment where CFO forget or make a misstep. We saw them in game 1, but it's starting to feel more and more impossible.
Really does. 6K gold lead. The hooks not quite finding the mark. Guma still not getting close to the stack, but maybe 80. It's where we can start seeing him have a little bit of an impact in the fight. A third item, but
Doran splitting.
It's
wants to get something back.
Got the bounty.
Forces the response.
Will make his way out.
Yeah, broken open now. Doran finds a way to escape. One inhibitor down, bot lane likely to fall as well.
And it goes back to what we were talking about in game number 2. As long as CFO don't give an objective flip to T1, T1 is just going to be confined to their base. CFO
Yeah.
run the map as Keria. That's the flash.
Forced out.
They might look for the end here, Dracos.
Doggo's still standing. He's the one that matters, but don't get me wrong. Hongq powerful as well. Doggo isolated for a moment. Faker tries to find the angle, but they backstep perfectly. Hongq ready to deny any potential engage. Lockup is already there on the owner. He's not able to get anything done. Ready to go in. Finds Doggo. Finds the death mark. Shield across the top. Doggo still standing. The death mark. Not enough. And in the back line of the base, it's Hongq continuing to run rampant. Doran doing everything he can. A few snips, but not nearly enough to cut down CFO. Domination again in back-to-back games as CFO move on to match points.
And 2 games in a row now, CFO is just straight up better. Every lane,